Hello everyone and welcome to this week's webinar. Today we're going to see two specific stud markers and how you can place them. One of them is called extra vertical marker and the other one is called H stud marker. So we're just going to start off with pretty basic. As you can see, I have two wall panels created here. Panel 1 and panel 2, and I have already framed them using the default light gauge steel template. So that's pretty much what I have with this project. And we're gonna see those two stud markers into the marker manager. But before we open this, let's start with basics. That in order to load all your markers and joint settings alongside with the families that they use, you need to actually use the load data feature first. So that's what we're going to do first thing first. We're just going to load data so we can see all the markers in the marker manager. Just give it one more second, should be okay. There it is. So we're just basically going to load both our framing components. That basically includes all the framing components such as your vertical members, horizontal members, etc. And your MWF components consist of different components that you can basically add to your wall panels, such as hold-ons and clips and nails, etc. Okay, so we're going to load both of them and click on OK. If sometime it asks you that some of the members have already been loaded, we're just gonna apply this to all. It's just gonna update the already existing markers or elements. I'm gonna click yes. That's pretty much it. So now when we open marker manager, we should be able to see all the markers. Okay, so today we're just going to talk about some of the vertical framing marker that you would find under walls, under vertical framing, and these are your different marker types. So let's just get started with the extra verticals marker. This is basically where you configure your marker settings, and then you just basically apply those marker types to your wall panel. Okay, so first we're going to configure this, and we do not really recommend that you modify the default out of the box markers. So the safest or the most reliable practice would be to duplicate this marker. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to click on the marker and you would find this duplicate icon at the bottom here, and we're just going to basically call them back. And click OK, and we should have our duplicated extra verticals marker. Okay, once you have created the duplicated marker, we're just simply gonna double click on this, and this is the menu that you should see. Kicking this off, again, it's a very simple menu when it comes to functionality. You have a couple of options at the beginning. Basically, first option you would see it's basically insertion alignment. By default, it's always focused towards the centered. That's basically the position of your marker when you physically add it. We're going to see it in a couple of seconds, but basically it's the alignment. Negative panel direction and panel direction would basically push the vertical marker more towards the negative direction of your panel, or just the direction of the panel. Okay. You also have a feature at the very top which basically reads stamp members for dimensioning. So what happens when you place a vertical extra vertical marker, right? And let's say if you already have dimension strings, and when you generate a shop drawing, if you have this feature unchecked, your dimension string just basically avoids this vertical marker. Okay, but if you wish your dimension strings to basically take consideration, just pretty much turn on this option. Okay, so that's what basically it does. Once you're done setting up those two features, basically you have the stud configuration settings here, in which you can actually change the family of the stud. You can actually change the designation that the stud gets. You can flip and rotate it, justification settings as well, alongside with the offset settings. And that remains the same for all three sides. So you have your left, middle, and right stud configuration settings. So in order to, let's say, achieve, we need to have a back-to-back stud pack that we need to add in this panel, for example. So in the middle, basically, we're just gonna remove the member, and we're just gonna have two different members on left and right, okay? And we're just gonna basically rotate them to form a back-to-back configuration, okay? You can add as many members in the middle if you want. Let's say if you wish to go with any other configuration, it could be triple, quadruple. You can actually add as many members as you want here, as you can see in the middle, okay? And then you can have only one member on either left or right side of this middle members, okay? So let's just talk about middle a little bit before we talk about left and right. So again, as I said, you have this repeat option. What it basically does is just basically repeats the member, okay? Here basically where you can just come and select the stud family. So as you can see, I'm just gonna select this one. And this is the configuration that you can also give to your stud. Again, you can rotate and select certain degrees, offset from each other, and justification. Okay. But let's just make them 0 because we just need two members. So on the left, again, you have your stud family settings, the designation that it gets, flip and rotate options alongside with justification. We're just going to do same as stud, so and same for the right member too. And we're just going to rotate this one, okay? So it basically forms a back-to-back. And at the bottom, if you need to add this as a sub-assembly, you also have this option as well, okay? So that's pretty much all for this extra verticals type parameter dialog box that we just saw. Again, keep in mind in the middle we have 0 members since we're trying to achieve a back-to-back configuration for these studs, okay? And that's pretty much it. We're just going to click OK, and as soon as you are about to exit the marker manager, it basically gives you this dialog box saying, do you wish to update this marker? Okay, just going to click OK and OK one more time. Alright, so once you're back on the floor plan view, now all you need to do is just basically add those markers wherever you wish in this panel. Okay, for that we do have another feature that basically reads the data from marker manager and applies to this wall panel. Okay, so you're just going to click on markers and you're going to see this option called extra verticals. Okay, so if I just read what it says, basically it adds extra vertical members in an MWF panel, and it reads the data from, as I already mentioned, marker manager. Okay, so we're going to click on this, and it basically just asks you to select which marker do you wish to add in this panel one that we see here. So we're just going to go ahead and try to find the duplicated extra verticals marker that we created, which is we named it back-to-back. Okay, and we're going to click on OK. So basically we're just going to select on the wall, and we're just going to add this vertical marker here as well, and something like this. And I'm just going to click on escape, give it a second, and as you can see, our back-to-back member has been added as the extra vertical stud marker. And this is basically how it looks. Okay, now this is a typical extra vertical marker, and let's say if you need to delete these extra vertical markers, you don't need to use any command actually. You could just use the keyboard delete and basically just regenerate, and that should typically get rid of the members. Okay. One other things I would like to mention is, let's say if you need to add more extra vertical marker to this specific panel, I think you cannot just copy basically this marker, place it somewhere and expects basically to have the member. It just basically gets confused. So I think the best practice, I'm just going to delete this. Again, as I mentioned, the best practice would be to go to extra verticals, just select your marker one more time and just place the marker here. And that's how you just always want to add extra verticals to this panel. Okay, so that's basically it for the extra verticals. Let's move on to the next. So again, we're gonna go back to marker manager. We're gonna go to wall, vertical framing, and this is basically where we're gonna find this. Okay, and yeah, I'm just gonna actually go ahead and duplicate this one as well, and we're just gonna basically name it test. Click OK, and we have duplicated this H stud pack. Now we're just gonna modify this one. Okay. So again, what H stud pack basically means is you're gonna have your left and right member basically just as the same that we've already seen with the extra verticals marker, but your middle member will be basically at a 90 degree. It's going to be rotated. Okay, so it basically forms an H when you look from the plan view. So yeah, again, you have your left member, middle member, and right member settings. In the middle member, you can actually add up to 4 members. Okay, so let's just see how the basic H stud pack works, and then we're gonna talk about a little bit about the nested stud family that also gets added to this H stud pack. So first thing first, we're going to configure our left member. So again, pretty similar settings that we've seen before. Of course, you would have the option to add this as a sub-assembly as well. Again, you would have your family and type settings. Again, if you need to have any cutbacks at either top or bottom, you can also give it to this leftmost member. Okay. You can either flip or rotate it to 180 degrees. Unfortunately, you do not have the same settings as the previous. In order to rotate them 90, 180, and 270, you just get this option to rotate them 180 degrees. So it's either 0 or 180 degrees. You can also flip the outermost stud and stamp for dimensioning. Again, stamp for dimensioning works the exact same as we discussed previously. Again, you would have the same settings for your right member as well. So again, I'm just gonna leave it as it is. You also have this option to actually add repeats for left and right. So that means you can have multiple members on your left or right side. Now let's talk about middle member. Again, as I already mentioned, you have up to 4. You can add up to 4 middle member if you want. And depending on the numbers that you're going with, you would have settings for member 1, 2, and if you do not have 3 selected, again, the settings for member 3 and 4 will be grayed out. Okay, so let's just go with 1 for now. And again, you just need to select your families and type. Again, you can give out different types according to your preferences, cutback settings, rotation and flip settings, alongside with your offset settings. Okay, so let's just see how this works, and we'll come back to the nested stud family settings. Just gonna click OK. We're gonna update this marker. Click OK one more time. All right, and now again, it would be the same procedure. You would actually need to go to extra verticals and select the marker that you wish to add into this panel. So in this case, it would be H stud test. And we're gonna click OK. Select the panel and start placing your extra verticals to your desired location and click on escape. So as you can see, I have successfully added this H stud pack. I've enabled one repeat on either right and left side, so that's why you see the double members created. And then I have, of course, my one middle member, which is, as I mentioned, rotated. This is basically what it looks like. Okay. One more important thing I would like to say. I already showed you guys what happens if you copy this marker, but you also have this flexibility to move your marker anywhere in this panel. Okay, so let's say if I decide to move this marker here, all you need to do is just basically regen, and basically these settings resides under this marker, so it will follow along. Okay, and again, in order to delete, as I already mentioned, you don't need to go find any commands. It's just a Revit delete. And once you delete those markers, all you need to do is regenerate. Alrighty, so let's just quickly go back one more time and talk a little bit more about the nested families. So we're going to go back to vertical framing and the marker that we've created. And this time we're going to turn off the repeats on either left and right member. Okay, so we just have one left and one right member. And for the middle member, we're gonna enable the nested stud family. So what it does is just basically places a track member, and you also have an option to add the connector as well. Okay, so that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna add a track member. You can actually determine the nested stud length. Okay, so we're gonna do 1 feet, and connector family. As you can see, I've already loaded a BIMSF clip family, so you can add whatever connector family that you're using with this, and that's pretty much it. We're gonna click OK. We're gonna make sure we update this marker, and we're gonna follow the same steps one more time. Extra verticals, test, click on OK, and place this. Looks something like this, and we're gonna quickly enable the 3D view, and this is basically your track member, your vertical member alongside with the clip, and this applies to the top track as well. So that's pretty much it for the H stud pack. Thank you guys very much for your time today. Please let us know if you guys have any questions, and thank you again for joining in today.